Hi, it's Nicholas Johnson here, TheGunBlog.ca. This video, I'm filming it on August 10th, 2020, to accompany an article that I published today on the website about the RCMP and how it's stepping outside its role, playing politics and picking sides in the mass gun confiscations that are underway. There's a link to the article in the description below, and there's a lot of complex kind of technical stuff going on, but conceptually it's really simple. So I thought it'd be easier to get some of the ideas across in a video as well as in print. What's going on? Right now, there is a regulation in place that was ordered by Cabinet on May 1st. Okay, that's the OIC, the Order in Council. That regulation says something very specific. It says a whole bunch of firearms are now prohibited. If you have one of these firearms, you are in illegal possession. You have until 30th of April 2022 to surrender them to police to avoid going to jail. Okay, that's the amnesty. That's what the regulation says. What the RCMP is doing in their communications to firearm owners is they're saying, well, you wait for the buyback, but there's nothing about a buyback in the regulation. So two problems with this. One is, why is the federal firearm regulator talking about things that aren't in regulation? Why is it not sticking to its role about administering and enforcing regulation as it is written? Second of all, it's saying, well, the government plans to do a buyback, intends to do a buyback. Well, okay, the government intends to do a lot of things. Why is it specifically promoting the buyback confiscation option? What about the grandfathering confiscation option? Why is the RCMP suppressing one option and promoting another? So one, it shouldn't be mentioning either of these options. Two, it shouldn't be promoting one option and suppressing another. It should not be picking sides. Third thing, why is it using this inaccurate and misleading language? There's no buyback here. It's a payoff to confiscation victims. It's a bribe. It's something to silence them so they turn in their guns. There's no grandfathering here. You've already lost your privileges and rights. May 1st, you can't buy, sell, transport, use any of those guns. There is no grandfathering. Grandfathering is when your privileges that you had at one point continue past another point. You've lost your privileges. May 1st, you lost them. There is no grandfathering. So why is the RCMP using this misleading language, this misleading doublespeak that the Liberals are using? I asked the RCMP these questions, not quite in those terms, a little bit more professionally and politely. You can see in the article the RCMP response. So that's the kind of technicality. Why is the RCMP stepping outside of the role of regulator and talking about stuff that does not exist in law or regulation? Why is it promoting one option and suppressing another? And why is it using this loaded political liberal doublespeak instead of neutral language? Easy. How about compensation instead of payoff? How about, I don't know, I call it lockup instead of grandfathering. The guns have to stay locked up. You cannot use them. There is no grandfathering. I'm in the park here. There's all sorts of background noise. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. So why does any of this matter? This matters in a very important way because we live in a thing called a democracy, and we don't always get what we want, but there are rules and procedures to be followed, and there's accountability, and there are consequences to pay when you don't follow the rules and procedures. So it looks like when you add up all the things the Liberals and the RCMP are doing have done before and since May 1st, there's a lot of things that look like an abuse of power, an abuse of position, and an abuse of procedure. The way the RCMP is communicating about this is so wrong in so many ways. You can read the article for the details. The way that the whole thing about the confiscation, what the government has done is so wrong in so many ways. I'm not going to get into that right here. Why does this matter? Because if we cannot trust the federal police, which is also the firearm regulator, to apply the regulations that are actually written and not talk about imaginary government intentions, if you can't trust the federal police and firearm regulator to respect the rule of law as it is written, not what it might be one day, where does that leave you? If the federal firearm regulator, which is run by the same people who run the federal police, are going to make stuff up and start enforcing stuff to take away your stuff so that you can avoid going to jail, they're going to make stuff up as a remedy so that you and I can avoid going to jail. Does that make any, are we in, almost said a bad word, are we in Honduras here, or are we in Canada? Are we in, Chad or are we in Canada? Okay? We have a thing called respect for the rule of law. What the RCMP is doing in cahoots under the orders of the Liberals, they're not acting on their own here. They're acting, people say the RCMP does the dirty politics of the Liberals. That way the government can blame the RCMP when things go bad. Anyway, that's what the article's about. It's a much more kind of dry and serious look at specifically on the language the RCMP is using, stepping outside of its role as a regulator, using biased language and playing politics, which is not the role of the regulator. Okay? You can subscribe to the Gun Blog, donate. Thank you very much for your generous support. Talk to you soon. Hey, so I just got the video and remembered there's a letter I wanted to read from an RCMP a former officer that I got today, and it's funny how, by coincidence, okay? The person who's an older gentleman says, "I keep reading your most interesting gun blog and wish to help with your ongoing work. Best regards, stay safe and stay healthy." Okay? So what does that matter? Of course I have lots of RCMP active and retired members, police and non-police, right, administrative staff, who read the Gun Blog, who subscribe, who donate, who are members of TheGunBlog.ca. So first of all, thank you. That's what keeps me going. This gentleman accompanied a generous check with his letter. What's the point here? Why does it matter to all this stuff? Because we shouldn't. I think we need to avoid bashing the whole RCMP and saying, you know, the RCMP is all evil and everybody who works the RCMP is these evil monsters who are attacking innocent citizens. Some of them are absolutely attacking honest citizens, and that's, I believe, immoral, unjust, and that's what I'll say about that. There are lots of people at the RCMP who are opposed to what's going on, who have very strong opinions about what's going on. They, of course, are professionals, so they may not show it at work because they're professionals who do their jobs professionally, and they keep their personal life out of their work life, but they have very strong opinions about what's going on. They own AR-15s, they own handguns, they own the stuff that's getting banned, shotguns, rifles, whatever, bolts, 50 calibers and 460s, whatever. They own the stuff that's their friends, their colleagues are going to have to confiscate. So, short version, yes, some people at the RCMP are doing a very bad thing, but not everyone is at the RCMP. Some people at the RCMP are doing a very good thing. Don't quit, we need you on the inside. Thanks, guys.